Hello tacticians, in today's video we are going to be looking at the latest machine of war to come to Tacticus, the RukkaTrukk. As always, thank you to everyone who supports the channel, whether it's through subscribing or use my friend code, as it really does help me out. And also, we've just passed that 1,000 subscriber threshold, so there'll be a new community code coming very soon indeed. So if you've got any last wishes about what that should be for, make sure you put them in the comments below. For those of you unfamiliar with Orc lore, there is a faction of orcs called the SpeedFreeks, who believe going as fast as possible is the best way to, well, do everything, especially if it involves crashing into the enemy. And although we won't be seeing the RukkaTrukk on the battlefield like Galatian, what we will see is another part of the orc culture, the Squig, who are used from anything from pets, to food, to hair pieces, and basically anything else you can think of, including here, ammunition. That's right, these guys are going to be throwing squigs at the enemy and causing some absolute mayhem on the way. But the big question is it actually worth it? Starting with the secondary ability, which is the one you can use without using your munitions, it will mark a free hex on the battlefield, and additionally a number of free hexes, depending on the level, within range 2 of that target hex, so they won't always be next to each other. And until the start of the RukkaTrukk's next turn, the first time a marked hex is occupied by an enemy, that enemy will take blast damage. Think of it a bit like how they take blast damage from those Genestealer cult explosions. However, if a friendly unit occupies that hex, it doesn't take any damage and the mark is then removed. And obviously this blast damage does obviously increase through the levels. The primary ability can't be used in the first round like most machines of war, and it only costs 1 munition, which is always good to see. It will deal physical damage to an enemy unit that has at least 1 friendly orc or 2 friendly units adjacent to it. And here it means the orc faction, not just orcs, as we'll see later. Then if the target has 2 friendly orcs or 4 friendly units adjacent to it, it will summon a large squig on a random free hex adjacent to that target. And of course, the large squig is a summon that appears on the battlefield with the stats below. The final ability to look at is the mythic ability, where enemies that are adjacent to a friendly squig from your primary ability, or adjacent to 2 or more friendly mythic characters, will then take 10% more damage from normal melee attacks by mythic characters. So if you're using the standard multi-hit troop for your guild raid bosses, this could actually be very useful indeed. It's also worth pointing out that as you go through the mythic stars, that amount of damage also increases up to a maximum of a plus 20% damage as well. But obviously, getting the RukkaTrukk to this level is not going to be the easiest of tasks. And as we're still here, here is the physical damage and squig stats, along with the amount of blast damage that it does with a Squig Mine, for the maximum level of 55. So now, of course, let's have a look at it on the battlefield. So I've just started a game against Zarek with the Squig Truck, and we're not interested in the damage, as I truly believe it will be beneficial for multi-hit to have the RukkaTrukk. So I'll move up and see what Zarek does. So he's summoned in. So first turn, we'll summon in some Squig Mines. So let's just target here. Bunch of Squig Mines appear. Let's see if they step on them. And they do, and it killed one of them off. In fact, killed 2 of them off. Excellent. And Zarek has come down to combat the orc, which is great news. So at the moment, if we were to use the Squig Launcher, we wouldn't get a squig appearing, because it has to be 2 friendly orcs or 4 friendly units adjacent to here. So we're going to attack with Snotflogger and bring in that grot. And now, because there's 2 characters, we can look at using the Squig Launcher to summon in the squig. But before we do that, we're going to move Carrion, who currently does 4,199, which then goes up to 5,050 because of the mythic ability, more Gitz over ear, where if there's 2 or more mythic characters, it means the amount of damage goes up. So that's all great. All of that is working as we would expect. So now we use the Squig Launchers, and in bounces that Squig. So we can get him surrounded very quickly indeed, although this is a poor position, I will admit. But this shows that the mines can destroy the Necron summons as they will step on them, which is great, and you only need 2 units from the Orc faction to be next to the enemy to summon in that Squig. Now, as I said, with better positioning, the amount of damage that you will benefit from the RukkaTrukk with a multi-hit team is actually going to be amazing, and it should be a really good addition to the team if you are using that team and if you are able to get the RukkaTrukk up to Mythic. So one last question remains. Is the RukkaTrukk worth it over any other machine of war? In my personal opinion, if you've chosen no other machines of war yet, you should really focus on the Forge Fiend and the Biovore. And if you have your ad mech leveled up, obviously Galatian is a clear choice. I think if you've got a fully functioning multi-hit team, which uses the normal attacks, then yes, it is absolutely worthwhile, and you will want to get it to Mythic so that you can get the bonus it provides. And the one guild raid boss where it will really excel is Belisarius Call, as of course you can't use your ad mech there, and the multi-hit team is actually very good. What I really want is for machines of war to actually be useful in more than just a handful of places. I find it very hard to recommend any machine of war, to be honest, because of the limited game modes that they're used in and the amount of resources they take to get to this level. But having said all that, this is a perfectly viable machine of war, and one I think will do well. Certainly better than some of the others.